My name is Marisol Lepata. I am a senior recruiter with Flat Planet, an Australian-owned professional services firm based in Manila, Philippines, with offices in Sydney, Australia, and Seoul, Korea. I am a proud member of Flat Planet's team, and like everyone else in the company, we see Flat Planet as being more than just a business. It is a concept built around two ideas. One, professionalism. Each Flat Planet staff member is an ambassador for professional Filipino culture. And two, opportunity. Through our professionalism and commitment to work, we create opportunities for our clients and ourselves. We provide a pathway to a better future. I am a proud professional woman with a senior role in an office in the heart of the Philippines Financial District. I own a proper house, and now I am enrolled to do my master's at a good university. I can also travel, all thanks to the opportunities that have been given thus far. I want to share my story with you that has led me to this point in my career and personal life. When I was a little girl, it was not obvious that my life would turn out this way. I was born in a province called Samar. It is a large island roughly in the eastern side of the Philippine archipelago. I grew up with my mother, Melissa, my father, Rolando, along with my 8 siblings. I was so incredibly lucky to be born into such a loving, close-knit family. But there was a time in my early years when I slowly came to realize that life was hard, that I was born into a very poor family. Samar, it's the place where we're from. It gained international attention when it was struck by giant Typhoon Haiyan in November 2014. The nearest big city, Tacloban, was the place most devastated as thousands of people died and thousands more were displaced from their homes. Tacloban was also the place Pope Francis visited and said Mass to people at that time still living in tents. I come from people called Waray. We are a proud and resilient people with their own language and culture that have lived in this part of the Philippines for thousands of years. And we are used to such calamities. The Philippines gets hit by an average of 21 typhoons a year, and most of them smash directly into us. Our province is known as the national highway for all the typhoons that come out of the Pacific. Samar is in one of the poorest part of the Philippines and somewhat considered a remote area. We have many issues to deal with. We have communist insurgents hiding in our mountains, little to no meaningful infrastructure, no industry beyond agriculture, perhaps because of the typhoons that would require us to rebuild each time a typhoon strikes and destroys our hometown. My family lives in an informal settlement on the edge of a town called Calbayog. Here, my father worked as a driver for a local utility company where he was paid just about $90 a month. My mother was a volunteer worker at the local district health center. She didn't get paid with money, but she was given a small sack of rice and yellow corn each day, which we ate for breakfast. It guaranteed we were fed at least once a day. Our town is also on the coast and we had access to fish. However, during rainy seasons, there were hardly any fish to catch. So on those days, we just ate rice and coconut. We had a papaya tree at the back of our house and it provided income for my brother who sold the papaya fruit in the neighborhood. He also sold ice water in plastic bags for a few pesos. I went to primary school, which was on the same street where we lived. My mother used to make little candies made of sugar and flour, bought with my dad's salary. I took the candies to school and sold the candies to other kids, taking the money home to mom, who used the money to help the family. Later on, I used some money I managed to get myself to buy candies in bulk and then sell them to other kids. And I made a little bit of money and saved it for myself. I did well in my primary studies, and after elementary, my first real break came when my aunt in Manila, who had no kids of her own, decided to take me in and help me continue my education. She lived in Taguig, near where I now work, but I had to find a job, and I soon worked as a lemon slicer, cutting up lemons in a factory that sold the lemons to lemonade vendors in shopping malls. I stayed with my auntie for a few years until I finished high school. This was such an important achievement for me, given that not everyone from Samar gets to finish high school. When my aunt adopted children, I went back home to Samar. I wanted to go to college, but we didn't have money to pay for my tuition. My parents both had started college, but neither had a chance to finish, as their own parents also couldn't fund it. It was then that my mom and I got to work. We went around trying to get meetings with every politicians we could think of, asking them for money to help me go to college. I had very good grades from high school in Manila, and I wanted to show the politicians that I was worth investing in. Until we finally managed to meet with the assistant of the mayor, and fortunately, he paid for my first year of college. From there, I was able to win a scholarship based on my grades, and my 3 years of college were paid for. Of course, I had no money for anything else. I had to make do with just my 2 pairs of shoes, which lasted me for 4 years, and my bag was also something I made from scraps of old clothing. The lack of social infrastructure, such as hospitals, also negatively affected us. During my 3rd year in college, my older brother, Mark, died. He had been diagnosed with a heart problem a few years earlier, but we couldn't afford or access the medication he needed. It was very sad, especially in the context of now, where I could afford the medication. In fact, today, I have private health cover and access to genuine world-class hospitals in the capital. After the loss of Mark, I had to keep going. I had to find work outside Samar. Even for me, who has a degree in business administration and marketing, there was no work to be found. And in fact, such a qualification made it harder for me to find work there. So for a while, I worked as a maid for a relative, and I was paid about $9 a month, apart from food and lodging. After a few months, I had $30 I needed for a 20-hour bus ride to Manila. My aunt took me back in for a while to give me time to get back on my feet. When I was in Manila, I saw an ad stuck on the wall of an elevator for an office assistant for an IT recruitment agency. I saw it as a chance, so I made sure to apply for the post. I walked into the office and got an interview and found that they already had 4 applicants sitting there for scheduled interviews. But I was the one they offered a job to. It was my first proper job, working in an office, and I was being paid about $300 a month, 30 times more than I was being paid in Samar. After a while, I had a chance to move to the recruitment team, and I started learning about recruitment. I was really good at it. I then also had a chance to earn incentives, an extra $100 to $150 a month. At that point, I was earning 45 times more than I was in Samar, and much more than mom and dad combined. It was just fantastic. I had more than enough money to send back home to my family in Samar, and as a result, 2 of my younger sisters also were able to attend college. Out of 9 of us kids, 4 now have college degrees. My reputation started to grow, and after a year or 2, I was headhunted by another company. An an IT recruitment company where I earned about $700 a month. But I was increasingly curious about the world outside the Philippines. And after 2 more years, I stepped into a role with an Indian firm based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, with responsibilities that covered Singapore. I felt like I had made it. However, this job also brought me back to earth. It turned out that the company was not an ethical employer. There were issues around them confiscating everyone's passport and making us work from 8 in the morning to midnight 6 days a week. Sometimes doors were locked that we couldn't even go to the bathroom. I did get to travel to Singapore a few times and learn valuable skills, but it was very difficult. I had a number of run-ins with the owner when I continuously objected to his treatment of his teams. On one occasion, he had to be restrained by a third person from hitting. I was quite a troublemaker, and I am not sure if he was that unhappy when I left, although he made me pay him $1,500 in cash out of my savings so I could get my passport back from him. It didn't end all bad. I was again headhunted by a Singaporean company, and they were excellent. They treated me well and paid me fairly. I lived in Singapore for almost a year until they asked me to move to Thailand, which I declined, and I decided I would return to the Philippines. Now, of course, I am with Flat Planet Philippines, where my professional development has gathered real momentum. A highly ethical employer, Flat Planet provides real stability that has enabled me to buy property and get organized to the point where I can continue my education in master's. And as my parents and many of my siblings still live in the same place in Samar, I am able to provide for them in a way that no one in my family has had before. Thank you to the opportunities I have gained working at Flat Planet. I am very, very proud of who I am and what I have achieved. I have achieved all of this by myself and also with the support of so many others around me. However, most importantly, I have been able to achieve all of this because I have been presented with opportunities. Without these opportunities, I would still be sitting in Samar, trying to figure out a way to get out of the slump we were in. Now, I can focus on more than just myself and my own career. I can also focus on what I can do to create opportunities for all those kids still living in Samar. I wanted to share my story to show the world that I, along with the Flat Planet staff, am an ambassador for professional Filipino culture. Being with Flat Planet has allowed me to hone my specialized skills to make an impact on companies and businesses we work with, and also for myself and my loved ones. I hope that what you take away from my story is that your business now has its own pathway for growth and success. You can choose to embrace commitment to professionalism and use that to your own advantage. But ultimately, working with Flat Planet shows or allows you to do something deeply profound, and that is to provide pathways to a better future. The Philippines has so much to offer. We have so much of so many things. The only thing we lack is opportunity. Good, solid, sustainable, meaningful opportunities. By engaging with Filipino culture, by creating opportunity for those of us with a commitment to professionalism, you are being profoundly ethical. You are contributing to the good in the world. And by working with Flat Planet, you are creating a positive impact for your businesses and for countless others.